Late one winter morning, Olivia returned to Arlesdale to see Jock helping some workmen with a rather unusual load.
Crowd barriers? What do we need those for, Jock?
Oh, we've got the Sudrians United Charity Gala coming up this weekend.
Sudrians United?
They're a local charity, dedicated to helping the poor and homeless.
I see,
Olivia replied, and she looked closely at the barriers on the flat cars. Most of them were decorated with the names of businesses Olivia had seen along the line, from a butcher based in Arlesdale to a solicitor whose office was just down from Marthwaite Station.
Are those the sponsors for the gala?
Yes, they cover the cost of insurance, food and drinks, that sort of thing.
Then our railway covers all the running costs, and all money from the tickets, food and drinks goes to charity. Is that how it works?
Yes. Have you done this sort of thing before?
Sir Walter used to run these events all the time on his Outworth Estate Railway.
That had been before it had closed down, Olivia thought sadly.
So you'll know what to expect then?
Oh, yes.
She glanced over, meeting Jock's concerned gaze.
Don't worry,
Olivia broke off abruptly as she noticed another one of the sponsors' names.
Royal Mutual Chartered Trust Bank?
Yeah, they're a big London bank. It's the first time they've sponsored this gala, but the small control is glad to have them. They're putting in quite a bit.
Why would they be doing that?
For the publicity, I suppose.
I see. That makes sense.
With that, Olivia chuffed off to the turntable. But, as she moved away, she couldn't help feeling worried.
I hope she won't be here,
Olivia said to herself as she stopped on the turntable. Over the next few days, the Arlesdale Railway began preparing for the charity gala. Representatives of the various sponsors arrived, including a 30-something woman named Jane, who was there on behalf of the Royal Mutual Chartered Trust Bank. Unlike the other representatives, Jane showed quite a bit of interest in the railway, even going as far as to helping out with some of the preparations. One morning, a day before the gala, Olivia was taking a passenger train up to Peel Godred. She had just arrived at Marthwaite when she heard a familiar voice.
Hello, Olivia, it's...
Don't say it's good to see me again! Don't you dare!
Bert, who was waiting to shunt some trucks nearby, was shocked. Engines simply didn't talk to passengers like that. But before he could say anything, Jane spoke again.
Olivia, I can understand why you're upset.
Then why did you come here?
Haven't you seen me around the railway these last couple of days? I'm here as a representative of my bank for the charity gala.
The bank could have sent anyone. Why are you here?
I wanted to see you, to apologise.
Olivia scoffed.
You want to do what? After everything you put me through, you think you can clear the slate by coming here and saying a few words?
Obviously not,
Jane replied. She hadn't expected Olivia to be so resentful. She went to board Olivia's train when the tank engine whistled angrily.
If you get on that train, it won't move an inch.
Olivia, what do you think you're doing? This woman is a paying passenger.
This woman has said in the past that she has absolutely no further use for me or engines like us at all. She stood by that then, so she should be able to stand by that now.
Even so, Olivia.
I'm sorry, Bert, but this is none of your business.
Olivia quickly departed before a gobsmacked Bert could reply. Once she'd gone, the blue engine looked over at Jane.
Ma'am, I must apologise for Olivia.
There's no need for that. Bert? I quite understand why Olivia reacted like that.
Oh, well, I will report this to our controller, Miss...
Albworth. Jane Albworth. There's no need for you to do that, Bert. Olivia shouldn't get into trouble over this. It's not really her fault.
I see.
Bert replied, even though he didn't.
If you say so, ma'am.
A moment later, he looked closely at Jane.
Hold on. Did you say your name was Jane Albworth?
That's correct, yes.
That explains it.
Bert replied, and he moved off to start his shunting. Rex was waiting in the sheds when Bert finished his run.
Rex, I was just wondering. Olivia's former owner was Sir Walter Albworth, wasn't he?
Yeah, why'd you ask?
Bert quickly explained about Olivia's encounter with Jane at Marthwaite.
I've never seen her so angry.
Rex frowned, worried.
And you're sure that this passenger's name was Jane Albert?
Yes, I double-checked that. You've already met her. She's representing the Royal Mutual Chartered Trust Bank at the gala.
Rex didn't reply for a moment. He was remembering a conversation that he, Frank, and Mike had had with Olivia shortly after she'd arrived on their railway. She'd told them about her estate railway, and how it had been closed down within 2 weeks of Sir Walter's death.
Let's just say that Sir Walter's children weren't as enthusiastic about the railway as their father.
I suspect that she's one of Sir Walter's children. You know, the ones that weren't so enthusiastic about the estate railway.
That would make sense.
Indeed. You said that she just wanted to apologize to Olivia?
Yes, but that just made her even more angry. She was absolutely furious, Rex.
Rex frowned. It wasn't healthy for anyone, be they human or engine, to carry such anger with them. As Olivia's friend, Rex couldn't help being worried. Later that afternoon, Rex was helping some workmen with maintenance at one of the mines when Olivia arrived. As the tank engine came to a halt, Rex looked over.
Olivia, I heard about what happened at Marthwaite this morning.
Olivia looked over, slightly apprehensive. To be honest, she was slightly ashamed of letting her anger get the better of her like that.
Miss Albert asked Bert not to tell the small controller about it, and he hasn't.
Oh, are you sure she asked him to do that?
According to Bert, yes, and he's no liar. Olivia, may I ask, exactly what do you have against Jane Albert?
Olivia hesitated. As she'd said, this really wasn't any of the other engine's business. But, on the other buffer, they had supported her when she'd arrived. They did deserve an explanation, she realised.
When Sir Walter died, his title and estate passed to his son Andrew, the eldest of his 2 children. The rest of his assets were split between Sir Andrew and his younger sister, Jane. You remember the state I was in when I arrived here?
Yes, you were rather depressed and disoriented.
Jane Alworth is almost entirely responsible for that.
Oh? How so?
Sir Andrew wasn't quite sure what to do with the Alworth Estate Railway, but Jane wanted the money that would come from selling us off.
And she convinced Sir Andrew to close the railway?
Yes! Now she has the audacity to show up here and try and apologise.
I can understand why you may not be happy to see her, Olivia.
That's putting it mildly.
Olivia, it's obvious that this whole business, from Sir Walter's passing to today, has caused you a great deal of anguish. It strikes me that you've got an opportunity here to let that go.
What, you mean by forgiving Jane? After all she's done?
Yes, that is what I mean. I hope I'm not being too forward here, but I think both of you will be able to move on if you do.
You think she wants to move on?
She's come here all the way from London and spent the last few days helping prepare for the gala, all for a chance to apologise to you. At least that's what it sounds like.
Olivia didn't reply, as she considered what Rex had said.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that her bag decided to sponsor our gala either.
Maybe. Anyway, I'd better be going. I'll be back late enough as it is.
Olivia departed a few minutes later, having shunted her trucks. As she continued her run up to Arlesdale, Olivia couldn't help thinking about what Rex had said. He had made some good points, she couldn't deny that. The shock of Sir Walter's death, compounded by her quick relocation to the Arlesdale Railway, had indeed caused her a bit of grief. As for Jane wanting to move on, well, Olivia supposed Rex had made a good point there, too. The evening light began to fade as the little tank engine made her way along the line. It would be well and truly dark when she got back to Arlesborough. She'd be the last train back. As she approached Farquhar Road Station, Olivia was surprised to see the station master waving a red flag. Next to him on the platform, a female figure stood, shivering. She saw that it was Jane. "Olivia, this young lady's missed the last train back to Arlesborough. Could you give her a ride back?" Olivia considered the question, and Rex's words came back to her.
Yes. Driver, is there room in my cab?
"It will be a bit of a tight squeeze." Jane smiled warmly.
Thank you.
But before she could climb into Olivia's cab, the tank engine spoke again.
Miss Alworth, How are you feeling right now? Cold and alone, I imagine.
Jane looked around. Aside from the station master, the only other sign of life was the hubbub of conversation drifting over from a nearby pub. Everyone was indoors, staying out of the winter weather.
Well, yes.
Now you know how I felt when you sent me away so quickly.
I take your point.
You'd better get aboard. I'm gonna have to get going.
Jane quickly climbed aboard, and the little tank engine set off.
Olivia, I'd like to offer my unreserved apology for the way I treated you and Jake after my father's passing.
You've changed your tune. May I ask why?
The Halloween party, a couple of months ago. Andrew and I were planning to run it like Dad usually did. You know, to raise money for charity.
Every year, Sir Walter had thrown an open Halloween party on his estate, with various attractions and games for the children. Entry was £1 per head, and all proceeds went to charity. For these parties, both Olivia and Jake had been done up as ghost trains, taking visitors around.
It wasn't a success this year?
Not without the ghost trains, no. It seems that was one of the major attractions for the visitors. We barely broke even.
I see.
I was a bit short-sighted, I will admit. I didn't realise how important Dad's railway was to his fundraising activities. Andrew wasn't too pleased either. He made it quite clear he shouldn't have listened to me about selling you.
Indeed.
So I decided to try and make up for it.
By getting your bank to sponsor this gala?
Yes, and one being held in January by Jake's new railway.
I see.
Silence fell, as Olivia considered what Jane had said. A few moments later, Olivia made her decision.
I accept your apology, Jane. I forgive you.
As soon as she said it, Olivia felt as though a weight had been lifted off her water tanks. She found herself relaxing, properly relaxing, for the first time since Sir Walter had died. She soon reached Arlesdale and brought her train to a halt. As Olivia's driver uncoupled her, Jane walked around in front of the engine. She was smiling.
Thank you, Olivia.
With that, she turned and strode away. Olivia smiled as she watched Jane go. Rex had been right, she thought. She had needed to move on, and now she could.